I was in a cab after a wedding with two people who used to go out with each other, and they'd split up a week before the wedding. And the woman caught the bouquet at the wedding, and then we got in a cab, and catching the bouquet had really tipped her over the edge with how angry she was at him. And so was
she holding the bouquet?
No.
Beat him with the bouquet?
She may as well have. She kind of sat in the front and took over the stereo. She had a CD of her favourite band in her bag, and she made the cabbie put it on.
What was the band?
It was like really loud, like techno music,
right.
Like really thumping music. And she made the cabbie put it on, and then she turned it up really loud, so it was insufferable.
Yeah.
And the cabbie was like telling her off and telling her not to do it. And she was like, I don't care. And then he'd turn it down and put on his music, and then he would turn it up, and her and the cabbie were just back and forth.
Oh my word! Where was this?
It was out in it's in Surrey on these little.
Why did you get in a cab with two people?
Because I didn't even know them. I got on with them at the wedding, and they were really nice. And then she caught the bouquet and changed into a different person. And then only agreed to get a cab with them.
Oh dear. So that doesn't qualify, but you know, it still sets out the character that you are, which is a man that, from my experience of being friends with you, 2 or 3 times a week finds yourself in a kind of sitcom-like situation.
In school, my friend he'd been going out with this girl, and he wanted to break up with her, and he's gutless, so he wrote her a note at lunchtime, and I was in a form group and he wasn't, so he just asked me to give her the note.
And did you know what was in the note?
Well, yeah.
But you're like one of those people that doesn't know they're carrying drugs across the border.
He'd written it, and I didn't want to go up to her and go, this is a bad. So I just went up to her and just gave her the note. And then she was so excited to receive a note from him, and she got all her friends round and said, he sent me a note.
Did you not think to step in at this point?
Well, no, because I was at this point, I was at the other end of the room, I could just see it happening, and I couldn't do anything about it. And she read it all out to them, and you could tell the bit where it got to, you know, and then her face dropped, and then they all kind of looked over at me, and it felt horrendous. But the thing is, the note.
How old were you at this point?
15.
Right.
But like,
she was 7.
Yeah, I had to go to a different school. But I remember the note started with, there's no easy way to say this. Well, you've clearly found an easy way to say it, haven't you? I mean, really, this is the easiest. I'm taking the brunt of this.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Josh Widdicombe on XFM, and that is Foals My Number. Before the Foals, we were talking about just Foals. They're not the Foals. There should be. It's always better when a band is the. Thoughts, James?
Yep, the best band ever.
Very good. That was like we'd rehearsed that.
Yeah,
that's James Acaster. I was talking to him before the break about one of his many scrapes he's got into, in which he had to give a girl a note at school where she'd been dumped. And then it transpired during the break that he'd also helped to pen this note with the dumper.
I didn't think this was even like relevant, but now I think of it, it is.
It is. The pity was on you, and now I'm.
So yeah,
you're kind of his spin doctor. You're his Alistair Campbell.
We've gone. I remember going. We've gone for a bit of a walk during lunch, out of school grounds. So what? And we sat down in this playing field.
Gone and bought myself a refresher bar.
Don't care. And helped him write because he wasn't very good at writing this. He was like, "How do I word this?" And I remember after like 20 minutes of writing it, we realised
20 minutes.
It was a long time. It took ages to write this note because he kept on like going, "No, that's not good. I can't say that." And starting again, and then eventually we both realised that actually there's a really disgusting smell in the air, and we were in the middle of. I don't think they even have these now in parks, but it was like a dog fouling area where it was like a triangle of lawn where you were allowed to let your dogs just go and do what. And we just really were surrounded by turds.
So you still want some pity for that?
Yeah, if everyone could please remember.
So when you got back and gave her the note and she started crying, you went, "You think you've had a bad day?"
Yeah.
Guess where I've just been.
Also, poor girl, some people get love letters scented with perfume. Well, this week, Josh, I went to my. Well, I didn't go to my first wine tasting. A guy came over to my house.
Yeah.
My housemate had been bought a wine tasting for his birthday.
Classic.
This guy came over to do the tasting with us. So we're all very excited about it, but basically, when you invite a stranger into your house and you allow them to hold court, it gets a bit weird. Yeah. And his whole thing was like, obviously, mate, it very quickly became clear it was a sales pitch, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so he would try and sell the wines with stories about the wines, but all the stories were about him and his mate Jim getting wasted. And it very quickly became apparent this man had a problem. It wasn't all right. And there was,
so it was more of an intervention than a wine taste.
Yeah, it's sort of like we should step in at some point. But he had, but also the most boring drunk stories you've ever heard. One story, he literally went, I was at work. I got a phone call from Jim. I said, "You all right, Jim?" And he went, "Yeah, you all right, mate? How are you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm pretty good." It's like literally every word they said to each other on the phone, back and forth. He went, "What are you doing now?" I said, "Not too much." I said, "Not too much. I'll tell you what you should do. You should come over to the hotel. Guess what I've got?" I said, "What you got?" So I got some of that wine you like, that red Australian wine with the other week. He's like, "You haven't?" I said, "I have." He said, "On the way over here, get some cheese." So I was on the way over, went into the cheese shop. Right, they had loads of cheeses there. Or behind the counter, loads of cheeses. I said, "What's that one?" He said, Big blue cheese."
Big blue cheese.
Big blue lovely cheese. Do you want that? I said, "I have the whole wheel." She said, "The whole wheel?" I said, "Yeah, that's the whole wheel."
Not made of stone.
Yeah.
Made of cheese. Not made of cheese.
It went on for ages. He went to the hotel with Jim.
With a wheel of blue cheese.
With a wheel of blue cheese. They put on the radiator and ate with spoons. And here was the spoons one was a detail he liked, but also what he really boasted about was they know us there at the hotel, so they let us go into the kitchen, help ourselves to the spoons. Free reign of the spoon drawer.
Because maybe because their main issue was that you put a wheel of blue cheese on their radiator.
Like, let's get these guys out of here. But he was doing the thing of like going, we'd taste it and they'd go, "What are you getting there? What are you getting?" And one of them went, "You're going to kick yourself. You're going to kick yourself when you don't get this." We're all guessing stuff, and he went, "No. Tell you what, I'll put you out of misery. Does anyone here remember those little French sweets called Campinos?" He went, "Well, yeah, but I wasn't going to guess some obscure French sweet from my childhood."
Does anyone remember blackjack?
Get a hint of Jolly Ranchers.
Did you buy any wine off him?
We didn't, and I'll tell you what, he threw a right mood. At the end, he was like, going to and all of us went, "Oh no, we didn't actually know this would be part of it." And he just got all the wine, slammed it back in his case, and he had an assistant with him. I didn't point that out. He had an assistant with him the whole time, who also Jim sitting there just drunk with a wheel of cheese on our radiator.
He shoved his wine back in the box, got his blue cheese off the radiator, put your spoons back, and stormed out the house. I think we can agree that James Acaster's Classic Scrapes has got a solid, almost spectacular
Annoying
start.
a wine connoisseur.
Number one in a...
I went on a first date on the 13th of February with a girl, and then we agreed to go on a date
for some.
Yeah. Then we agreed to go on a date the next day without thinking what day it was. And
Did the first one gone well?
First one was nice. We went ice skating, but I'd never been ice skating before.
Classic.
So she was like going round and lapping me, and I was doing the whole kind of...
I want to know about the details.
After that, no, I was holding on to the side of the ice rink, and my legs wobbling like a baby giraffe. Yeah. And she was having a much better time than I was. But then, like, I agreed to...
But she agreed to a second date.
She's like, second date, she said, there's a line dancing class that I go to. So you come line...
She's a keeper.
Come line dancing with me tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And then...
definitely.
And then, like,
How old were you at this point?
I would have been 18. I think 18 years old. I was going to go to line dancing.
Yeah.
And...
Oh, Cotton Eye James.
Yeah, I went about, bought a plaid shirt. And...
Did you?
No, I didn't.
For a minute.
I believe I just dressed nice and casual.
What, like, jump over your shoulders?
Yeah, didn't even get top button undone. And I got my brother to drive me to the line dancing class.
Yeah.
And on the way there...
yourself out on the way there.
Huh?
You don't want to tire yourself out by walking there.
No. I she should have arrived by horse. Would have been more appropriate. Tied it up outside. But my brother was driving me, and on the way there, I got a text from her pulling out of the date. But
sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
I'd already kind of like committed myself to. I got myself in the zone in my head that I was going line dancing, and this is what I was doing.
Valentine's Day.
And I said to my brother, I still kind of want to go. And he was like, well, I'll go with you.
Oh my.
So me and my brother went line dancing together, and we were the youngest there by about 40 years. Like everyone else was like way older than us.
Yeah, well, understandably. Why has she pulled out?
She said she had got home and her mum had thrown her a surprise Valentine's party.
Yes.
Which I think is the oldest lie in the Valentine's book.
Lie.
But I felt...
that's actually a template on texts for putting out.
This just comes with the phone.
Sorry, got home. There was a surprise Valentine's party. Send?
I have received that text many a time, mainly in the autumn. But yeah, we got there.
That's definitely a surprise Valentine's party in the autumn.
But yeah, we did the whole, like, we had a really good time, and we ended up really enjoying it. And there was like the line dancing leader was a lady called B, and she made it her mission all night to zing me and make fun of me in front of everyone.
Oh, so what kind of slams was she laying down?
Well, at one point I was line dancing near, unbeknownst to me, somewhere where someone had spilt a drink in a little puddle, and she went, someone got too excited by line dancing, he couldn't wait, and everyone really laughed. And I was looking around at them going, you lot are really old, it's more likely it was one of you. Don't even start making fun of me for this.
No, because if there's one moral from the story, it's that no one should be making fun of you on that night. If you can beat James's story, and you can't, but if you can, genuinely if you can, at XFM or 63936.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
XFM, and that's Oasis, Don't Look Back in Anger, which is about Meg White leaving the White Stripes, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Replaced by someone called Sally.
But if you missed the last thing, that'll make no sense at all. But James is now saying that every song is about Meg White, and it's going to get increasingly difficult because the next song is well, we'll see, won't we? Now, this is James Acaster. Well, this is Josh Widdicombe. I'm joined by James Acaster. It's very rare you confuse who you are yourself.
Wishful thinking, I think. That was what that was.
Now, before the break, we were talking about the worst Valentine's Day. The listeners had some good ones, and then James Acaster basically came in and blitzed the whole thing with the worst ever Valentine's Day, which was, to cut a long story short, a second date, line dancing, where he was driven by his brother to meet this girl who dropped out on the way. So James took his brother line dancing and was then accused of wetting himself by the old woman who led the group. Oh, we thought that's bad. During the two songs that we just heard about Meg White, it transpired that there was more details. The story continued.
Well, it took a turn for the better to begin with, because at the end of our line dancing class, there was a...
How did it take a turn for the better? They decided to play Russian roulette.
Exactly. Basically, all the old ladies left, and then we were allowed to stay and watch the next class if we wanted. Of course, you know...
Not made of stone.
We're happening cats. We've got so much going on Valentine's Day that we decided to stay and watch the next class. And but it was loads of like girls our age and like proper dancers. And afterwards, a group of them came and just gravitated towards me and my brother, sat around us, and started chatting to us.
They did.
It's going really well.
It's catering. It's February the 14th.
Yeah.
You're in a room with your brother.
Yeah.
Girls aren't gonna leave you alone.
I mean, at the time, I was thinking, we're idiots for not doing this every Valentine's Day. This is why isn't there more guys coming? There's single women here. It's Valentine's Day. You just sit
like
around.
moths to a light bulb.
Yeah. This is fishing about. And then like a group of them all went up to my brother. Oh, we'll teach you some dance moves. Come on, and they took him by the hand, took him over to the dance floor.
What happened to you?
I was left in the booth.
Booth?
It was in a little booth in a corner.
Oh, yeah.
I was left there with their mother, who come to pick him up, and they were there dancing with Steve.
Was she throwing down some moves?
No, she was just sitting. She was telling me about her son, who was a professional dancer, whose stage name was Hypno. Hypno, not to be confused with Hypnodisc, the classic Robot Wars robot, which I believe won many a.
Who's your favourite robot on Robot Wars?
It was Hypnodisc, but then I was also a fan of the house robot Matilda, who didn't take it.
What about So Kill a Lot?
So Kill a Lot was good fun. I mean, it's
I
not,
think producer Neil's got a new social media challenge, which is track down all the robots from
Yeah.
Robot Wars.
especially whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but the one that originally self-righted itself. Because it used to be a thing where, like, if they got flipped over, that was it.
Yeah.
And then the first robot that had that self-righting
yeah,
mechanism,
yeah.
then everyone copied it. But the first time it did it,
Wow.
Craig Charles lost it.
Jonathan Pierce, I was the commentator on that. He used to absolutely lose it over Robot. It was. I didn't really like it, but anyway.
So me and that lady were chatting about Robot Wars, and
Of course, you bloody were.
and her son Hypno, and then she eventually, you know, my brother's there dancing, and I, like, you know, kind of gave him the thumbs up, and then she went to me, so how long have you been together? And I realised, obviously, you know, my brother also at the time worked in a gym as a personal trainer. He was very buff. I'm quite a scrawny, weedy guy. He was there just dancing. Of course it looked like that. We've gone to line dancing together on Valentine's Day. And
We've already discussed that you dressed casual for the event.
yeah. And I tried to clear things up by saying he's my brother, and that made matters worse, quite frankly. She didn't want to talk to me after. Do you remember Lost?
I do. Yeah.
There's a character in Lost.
Hurley?
No, not Hurley. It wasn't Hurley. You're going to keep on guessing. Come on for ages. There was a character. He
You're
came
a
in
big fan of
during
Lost, weren't you?
I was a massive fan. I watched all of it. So I was really.
But I've
really
forgiven
into
you.
it. Yeah, you still seem past that and continue to be my
Yeah, I
friend.
know you've got a heart of gold.
Now
beyond
you've
that.
discovered I'm also a fan of musicals. And, I mean, Lost the musical is going to be the best day of my life when that comes out.
Impenetrable.
Yeah, but there's a character came in about season 2 called Mr. Echo was his name.
Oh yeah.
And he was my favourite character, and I loved him. And I was doing a gig as part of like a tour with some friends in Nottingham, and I went to meet my sister and her husband in Chiquitos.
Classic.
And
He wasn't in there. I mean,
mate, he was, mate. he was in Chiquitos. But like, my sister loves Lost as well. So me and my sister were chatting, and as we went to leave, I was like, that's Mr. Echo over there. Sat by the door, Mr. Echo's there.
sat by the door.
Yeah, sat right by the door.
Does he not even get his own little?
No way, mate. He sat by the door with his phone on the table. He was drumming to the Mexican music in Chiquitos.
On his own?
On the table, on his own. Jamming out Mexican music. So I went over to
And
him.
you managed to turn this into an embarrassment for you rather than for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, he really was probably really relieved that this turned out the way it did. But first of all, it went well. I went over to him and I said, mate, I think you're amazing in Lost.
Yeah.
He was like, thanks very much, that's so nice of you. It was really cool, and then we left, and I went to the gig, and as I arrived there, Josie, my friend Josie, who was on the bill, she went, right, come on, we're going to go for some food, I'm buying. I was like, great, where are we going? She said, Chiquitos. And I was like, I can't go to Chiquitos. I've just been in there and gone up to a man and told him I love him. I can't walk back in there with a different group of people now. And everyone else was like, we're going to Chiquitos, James. We've made up our mind. If you want some food, you've got to come to Chiquitos, otherwise you're not getting anything. So I really panicked about this. I was like, he's right by the door. You can see everyone who comes in. I can't hide from him.
Were you hoping he was going to be lost in the rhythm?
Yeah. I just get it. He's still just drumming on the table, singing to himself. But
By that point, he was doing bass using a fajita.
Exactly. But I said to them, look, I can't just walk in there.
Yeah.
So what happened? What we did was, one of my friends gave me a hoodie. And I pulled the hood up, and then one of my friends gave me a bobble hat, and I pulled that over the hood. Yeah. And I walked in with my head down, and we were there at the door. We had to wait.
Did you eat a second Chiquitos?
Well, I hadn't had a first one. I had drinks, and we actually went to Chiquitos for drinks, me and my sister. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one really does that.
No.
It's not really a place where you go for a swift half.
So just 2 cocktails, please.
Yeah. No, we're not here to eat. It's a happening bar.
Did you send over a Bloody Mary to Mr. Echo?
Send these olives over to Mr. Echo. He'll
Like
love
coleslaw?
But so we had to stand at the door and wait to be seated, and the guy came over and said, "I've got one table free. It's right over there. Obviously, it's the one next to Mr. Echo. It's right,
Of course it
right
is.
It wouldn't be any other table in the whole thing." I was like, as I said to Josie,
I wouldn't expect anything less.
yeah. I said we can't sit there. She's just like, well, we're gonna sit there, stop being a baby. I I sat down with my back to Mr. Echo so he couldn't see me.
Yeah.
I kept the bobble hat and the hoodie on.
Yeah.
So, and
the police came over and accused you of trying to rob the place.
yeah. It's got taken out by the mariachi police. But no, I was sitting there, and then basically
What
he
did
got
you
up.
order?
I had a burrito.
Yeah, standard.
A big
Good
burrito.
choice.
And I think we all had some quesadillas to share.
Nice.
But Mr. Echo got up to leave, and he had to squeeze past me, like behind me. So I was keeping my head down and to try to shift my chair forward. And then while I was shifting my chair forward, accidentally I knocked my fork onto the floor. And me and Mr. Echo went to pick it up at the same time. And at that point, we looked at each other, and he saw me, and his face, the fear in his face when he realised I'd come in disguise, was way worse than if he'd just seen me walk in. The fact that you can see the confusion. He had so many questions as to why I'd come in a disguise and brought new people with me. And he was so scared.
Did you say anything?
No, I just kind of looked at him like a rabbit in the headlights, and then he just kind of like gave me the fork, and then he just nodded his head and left.
But the irony being that that actually became one of the many twists in the third series of Lost.
I mean, the thing is, he will never know what happened.
No,
but then that
unless
is
he's listening.
The spirit of Lost. No answers to any question.
Hello, James.
You know what I mean?
Where are you?
I'm in Leicester. Apparently, there's a little new cafe that's open next to the train station called the Postal Bar.
This better be a scrape, James, otherwise I'm not interested.
There's been no scrape at all, actually, here. It's been going quite well, but what I have noticed is that there's no postal theme whatsoever to the Postal Bar. There's a lot of antlers all over the wall, which has nothing to do, I don't know about you guys, but never received a idea.
Never seen that antler in the post. So let's move on and get into your scrape, James. Otherwise, the Postal Bar and us are going to get hauled over the coals by some kind of authority. Is it this week that something's happened to you, or are you going for one of your scrapes from the archives?
I'm not having a dip into the archives. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite impressed at how in the 4 weeks of doing this, I haven't really had to delve into greatest hits yet. This was every week I seem to just be living the same unfortunate existence I always have in the last 28 years. Unfortunately, I've always got a new one for you.
Great news.
This one happened on the Tube this week.
Yeah.
The London Underground.
The London Underground. People outside of Zone 6.
I am in Leicester. You know, some people are overhearing this and just looked at me and I said the Tube. Like I was a madman.
The Jules Holland TV show from the 80s.
This guy's got scrapes from every decade. No, I was going to say, my pet hate on the Tube is when people don't let you off the carriage.
Yeah.
But I've never walked on before yet, and I was in a really packed carriage. And as it was emptying, I was like the last person to get off it. As I went to get off, this guy found on the platform not only got on, didn't let me off, but he also pushed me back on as he went on. Like properly, just like I wasn't there.
Yeah.
And in doing so, the door closed, and I was still on the tube. It started. The train pulled away, and I was by the way, I was cutting it fine for my appointment as it was, and.
What was your appointment?
I think I was going to an evening performance. I think I was going to watch my friends play. That's what I was doing.
Don't try and make yourself sound more highbrow than you actually are, James. You were going to Pizza Hut alone.
So what did you do?
Well, for maybe the second time in my life, I got angry. Because it doesn't often happen. And I turned round, and the culprit was actually still had the nerve to be standing right next to me by the door, laughing, really smiling like a Cheshire cat, Josh. I looked at him, and I was like, I'm not letting this go. I said to him, I probably pointed at him. I was like, I don't know why I bothered, but I pointed at him, and I said, you do realise you're meant to let people off the carriage first. It's only polite. What I said. I said it's only polite, mate. And he stopped laughing. I said, seriously, mate, seriously, it's not. I'm trapped in this tube now. And it was really. The whole carriage went quiet. It was really tense. I could feel everyone looking at us. And then he just went. It wasn't me. And then I looked around and I realised the person was sitting. He had gone way past me and sat way down the other end of the carriage. I was there by the door with this stranger who was just trying to kind of like laugh with me. Oh, wasn't that funny? What an idiot who pushed you back on the tube. I had a go at him. Then we're both standing next to the door together. So I'm kind of like, I can't go and walk away from him. And then the tube did that thing where it just stopped in between stops in the tunnel.
Oh.
So we were there for about 5 minutes.
Awkward.
5 minutes just stood next to each other, and I just got angry. And it's awful when you kind of come down from being angry to being embarrassed,
That's why
and you
shouldn't
can
get
feel
angry,
everyone
James.
looking. I should never do it.
No.
Doesn't suit me.
Well, James, thank you very much. I'm going to leave you with your new catchphrase, which is keep on scraping.
Still scraping.
Still scraping. We are joined for the final hour on Josh Widdicombe Show by friend of the show, James Acaster.
Friend of the nation.
Friend of the nation. Don't push it, mate. We're going to now expose how the work of a comedian's done, because you've got a story about your gig last night that you wanted to tell me.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, and then as with anything on a Saturday now, you go tell me on the air. I'm not allowed to speak to you off mic.
It's going to be very awkward when you have to come out to me.
Yeah. When and not if, Josh. Well, last night I had a gig in Aylesbury. If there's anyone listening who was at that Aylesbury gig, I hope you were. Yeah. It was it depends which half of the audience they were in. Half of them seemed to like me. The other half, livid. really angry at the kind of comedy I was trying to do last night. And I'll say trying. I was really working hard.
Yeah.
But the thing that made the gig unusual was that my granddad lives around the corner from Aylesbury.
Yeah, of course he does.
In his mid-80s, with a walking stick. I can't really hear very well.
Yeah.
Got him on the front row because he can't.
You got him on the... Oh, you pulled some strings?
Yeah, pulled some... I know some people. I said, Grandad, I will get you on the front and you will hear every word. He didn't hear anything. He wasn't aware that I was doing as badly as I was. But at the end of the gig...
Small mercies.
At the end of the gig, obviously, I was like, thank you very much. Everyone claps, which is polite of him. And as I was leaving, he went to... My granddad goes to shake my hand while I'm still on stage. And so I shook his hand, but then he just grabs it really tightly, pulls me in to whisper in my ear. So this isn't a handshake, it's him wanting a word of me.
Right.
And he's saying in my ear, you're going to come back and find me, right, in the interval? Come back and collect me from there. But at the minute, I'm still on stage. And everyone just... All they can see is that...
It's very rare that happens to Bono.
Yeah, his granddad starts... Well, also, they don't know he's my granddad. So as far as the audience is concerned, an old man has just grabbed me and starting to give me advice.
Can they... Tell you where you went wrong, mate.
Yeah, that was awful. But then, obviously, I then had to go and get him in the interval.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and he's
Could they hear him say, are you going to come and get me?
No. So they just knew that he was...
If they'd heard that, it would have sounded like he was a really big fan.
Yeah. That's
really
his target audience. No wonder no one else likes it. But I went back, and obviously, if I've normally had a gig that was a bit iffy, I'd leave pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But as it is, my granddad has a walking stick now. He walks very slowly, so I had to leave the gig at a snail's pace, sauntering through the audience, really slow, ambling through them, while they all looked at me, and then obviously you saw on their faces they're going, oh no, he's not only did he have that gig, he's got his granddad with him. And it was awful. And but just when we're right in the thick of it, right in the crowd, he did the worst fart I think I've ever heard or experienced in my life.
I'm not normally up for farting humour, but that is exactly
it was like he'd done it on my behalf just to get him back.
And he was the only one that couldn't hear it.
Yeah, he was there looking at me going, silent but deadly. No, it wasn't.
Well, James, thank you. You've made me feel better about myself, if anything.
Oh, good.
I hope your granddad might be listening. He doesn't know. We are joined by James Acaster, as per bloody usual. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Josh.
So each week you give us a scrape you've got into, because your life is a running 70s sitcom.
Yeah.
You know, we're missing Richard Bryars, but there's a new kid in town. So what was your scrape?
I got trapped in my bedroom and had to call the fire brigade. Yeah, ridiculous. But I share.
Call 999.
Yeah, I had to properly. I share a flat with my girlfriend. It's a very small flat, and the bedroom has a sliding glass door, like a massive sliding glass door.
Yeah.
And she got up in the night and forgot. Yeah, well there you go. She wakes up in the night sometimes, and she had to open the door, and in her tiredness forgot that it was sliding and thought it was just a pull door. So she pulled it towards her, and then it just basically came off of its dollies and jammed between the ceiling and the floor.
Yeah.
And it's like all made of glass. So
it didn't smash.
No, but it was just jammed there.
Yeah.
I went to try and move it, but every time I tried to move it, it made this massive creaking sound like it was going to break. I was like, I can't handle this.
Have you got a window in your bedroom?
No, we've got a window, but we're 3 floors up. There's no way I'm getting out of there. We didn't have our keys in the room with us. We had them in the living room and we couldn't get to them.
Yeah.
And after a while, I was just like, I think we're going to have to phone the fire brigade.
What time of night was it?
This was about 2 in the morning.
Couldn't you sleep on it?
No, she really needed a wee. she got up to go to the toilet, and you know, I don't think I could get to sleep now, and I was trapped in the room.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, but like they turned up, and like, they were very nice. But our room is like a shoebox, so 2 firemen climbed through the window, came into our bedroom, instantly said what everyone says, which is, "Oh, this flat's a bit small. Like, I didn't call you here."
Yeah.
For this kind of opinion.
We didn't call Kirsty and Phil.
Yeah. And then they put all their protective like gear on, the visors and everything.
Yeah.
And like shook the door free, didn't break. They
Where
got
were
it
you,
out.
cowering in the corner?
Yeah, for me, the most embarrassing thing
You didn't go
was,
down the ladder?
No, we didn't go down the ladder, but when they arrived, they're shouting up from the bottom, and Louise was leaning out the window talking to them. And then they went...
What was she saying?
She was telling them what had happened. And they said, "Are you on your own?" And she went, "No, my boyfriend's here." And then I kind of sheepishly...
Said, "Is that James
appeared.
Acaster?" Because that's the kind of scrape he'd get.
There's a, "Hello, James, 10th time this week." But the main thing that ticked me off was that after they had moved the door, one of them... Not only they said the flat was small, but the other thing that everyone says, he went, "Oh, it's boiling in this flat." I was like, "Mate, most of the buildings you go to are on fire. Like, keep those opinions to yourself. It's not as hot as probably the last place you were."
You've had a series of depressing jobs, haven't you?
I don't know if I call them all. My first ever job was at Wicksteed Park in Kettering, where I'm from, and I remember the first day of that was the kind of like, it was the final cementing that I didn't want to do I couldn't do a normal job.
Yeah.
Because I remember I worked in the food outlet, and we would like serve ice creams and drinks all day. And this guy called Chetin, who was showing me around, showing me he said, "This is where we put the hot chocolate powder, and you got to open the powder, the bags, but you got to be careful once, right?" I opened it really fast, and all the chocolate puffed up in my face, and then later on I sneezed. It tasted like chocolate. And I remember when he said that to me, I just thought, I can't work here. I can't. If that's the best anecdote he's got for the whole time he's been here, I can't work at Wicksteed Park.
No. Oh, well, I'm glad. The problem is I made you a hot chocolate earlier.
Yeah.
And told you the exact same anecdote.
Yeah. Well, I do just a lot more stories. I just changed the name Josh to.
What's work colleague, you say? Well, let me start here.
I've worked in a lot of kitchens. I used to teach kids the drums.
In the kitchens?
Yeah, that's it. Just pots and
You
pans.
used to teach kids drums?
Yeah, in a music shop.
Well, that's going to be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song, because that's the kind of anecdote I want to settle down into.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
This is Josh Widdicombe on XFM, and I am joined still by James Acaster.
Big time.
Big time. And we are talking about worst work colleagues. Specifically, we are talking about your period as a drum teacher to children.
You see, my colleagues, no colleagues there really. Just teaching drums. It was the students, none of which ever practiced the drums. I didn't think that was necessary.
No.
But
how difficult can it be?
Well, that was kind of the thinking behind it, I think, for a lot of them. But their excuses for not practicing. One kid, who was also called James, he was about 7, and his excuse for not practicing would get more elaborate every week as to why he wasn't doing it. But not elaborate as in, like, fantastic, but really bored. Once he just went, thing is, this week I've really been getting into writing down car number plates. So that's been taken
God,
up.
he really was like you, wasn't
It was just like, I was like, well, fair play, mate. We've all been there.
Chip off the old
we've all caught the bug. I know what it's like. Write it down.
Oh, well, so he was your favourite?
Yeah, he would go around writing down. So he'd been going around just writing them down all week, like he was some sort of.
Let's cut to the chat. What's the worst work colleague you've ever had?
Oh well, no, well.
To give you an idea, listeners, James just looked at the clock. As if to go, settle down.
I mean, it's quite bad. I mean, but on my last day, I'd worked there for 3.5 years. Also, there was a girl who's her last day of work. She's a waitress. She'd been working there for 6 months, and she left in the afternoon. Her shift finished at 3, and she left with an arm. She had to have people help her carry her presents and cards out of the door. She had like a massive card that played a song when you opened it, and all day she kept on opening it and laughing, and they were all helping her lift all her presents into the car. Then at the end of my shift, which was in the evening, everyone just said, "See you later, mate." Shook my hand. I was fair enough. Maybe they got me. At least
surprise coming up.
Yeah. And there was Josh, because I walked into the car park to my Ford Fiesta and discovered that they had covered it with dessert sauce and fish juice. And it was mainly haddock juice, which is the worst. Which, by the way, got into the air vents, and my car didn't lose the smell for a month and a half. Also, the dessert sauce, they were clever enough to squirt it underneath the handles of the door, so I couldn't access my cleaning products which I had inside the car. I couldn't get into the car. So I ended up phoning the perpetrators who had already gone home and making one of them come back and help me, and he was not. He said, "Why do you think I would want to come back and clean your car?" Which I replied, "Why did you think I wanted to?" I was going to be there going, "You guys know me, you know what I'm like. Last day.
What a treat."
Yeah.
What's your scrape this week, James?
We were talking about me teaching drums earlier, and then I remembered the most bizarre band I've ever been in, which I was in for all of an hour. I used to have singing lessons.
Because we can already tell you've probably got the voice of an angel.
Well, I heard my speaking voice and thought, this is wasted on just conversation alone. I know this. I know I can make this sing, but I couldn't sing so much. So I could play the drums. So I went and I had singing lessons from this Italian woman in Kettering called Cecilia. Cecilia should just like leap on any idea, and she's like grade 8 flute. She said to me one day, I'm forming a band, and I was wondering if you'd like to be in it, because we need a percussionist to play congas.
Very cool.
Which normally, most people, that'd be a turn off immediately.
Yeah, for you. You thought this is like when McCartney and Lennon met at that fete.
I was like, I'm listening.
Yeah.
She was like, you're congas. I'm playing flute. And one of my students called Mike is playing didgeridoo.
Brilliant.
That's the full lineup.
And you thought, why not?
So of course I said yes. And
of course you did.
I lived like a few miles away from her, and so she was like, Mike, the didgeridoo player, can pick you up and bring you to band practice.
Did he have his didgeridoo on the roof rack?
He didn't. That would have been brilliant. Just with the wind going through it as he was driving along, like an Australian police car, just pulling people over. But basically, Mike turned up to pick me up from my house an hour early. I just got home.
So rich, this story, isn't it? When you tell and callbacks.
It's so much. I said, I'm going to have a shower, so I was thinking of chips. So I'll have a shower. He said, it's okay, I'll wait in the car. And he literally sat on the drive and waited in the car. And then I got in the car, and before we even got out my street, he was driving away, and he just went, do you like conspiracy theories?
Oh, yes!
The first thing he said to me.
Lock the doors?
Yeah.
Do you like tinned food? Because we're going to my outpost where the world is going to end.
Don't worry, I know a safe place, come on. Just me, you, a didgeridoo and some congas. We got to Cecilia's house. It was just a jam. which for the listener is when you just let yourself go, let the music take you, and improvise. And we finished the first song, and Mike said, "Pretty good. The congas though, are a bit too busy. Need to simplify them."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And Cecilia went, "Just do what you want." And he went, "I'm just saying." I thought, "Okay, fine." So we played again. I simplified the congas a bit.
Of course it is. Team player.
Yeah, I'm not going to rock the boat. Stop the song. Mike went, "That was good. Conga's now too simple." Start putting a few more flourishes in there. And Cecilia went, "James, seriously, you don't have to listen to him. It's fine." And he went, "Look, come on. We're allowed to have an opinion, Cecilia. I'm just telling him. It's getting a bit heated."
Yeah.
We're about to start the third song, and Cecilia's next student arrives. Cecilia went, "Oh, you can wait in that room. We'll be done in a minute. Or if you want, you can stay and listen." And she went, "Oh, what? Have you formed a band?" She went, "Yeah, this is our new band." And this lady went, "Well, my son is a music producer. I can ring him right now." And
Well,
you can.
well, Mrs. Spector, that's fine.
I mean, he's in a bit of trouble at the minute. But, so what she did, she rang her son there and then and said, "Hello, you're going to get quite excited. I've got a brand new band here.
Oh, my word.
And they'd like to play a song for you down the phone."
Oh, no. What?
So
No.
our third time played a song is played to a producer down the phone.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, yeah, this is what? Biopics. Is this
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you can see
yeah.
the film being made of this.
You couldn't pay for this kind of luck.
Yeah. So she's got us on speaker, and then we play our third jam of the day. Then at the end of it, Mike goes, "James, the congas are all over the place. I'm not really feeling it at all." And Cecilia goes, "No, seriously, James, do what you like." And then Mike gets up, slams his didgeridoo down on the sofa, and just goes, "I knew this would happen. Two of you, you've got together, you decided,
Amazing.
you're going to gang up, you're not going to let me lead this band. Do you know what? You're poisoning this band. I'm not letting you infect his mind with your words and try and turn him against me. This is not what I wanted. I knew this would happen from the day you asked me to do it. I knew there's something about you, and I do not trust you." And it was really silent, and then he looked over at me and he went, "Do you still want to be in a band?" And then and at that point was when out of the phone came the guys that go going, "Mum? Mother, what's going on?"
Oh, that is... well, welcome, James. We're talking today, as you're aware, about lies you got caught in, particularly at school, and or just lies that people have made up at school.
Yeah.
And, you've presumably been racking your brains.
I never told any myself, but one kid, I got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bubble bath for my birthday.
Yes.
And obviously I couldn't go into school without running my mouth off about it until I never.
No, I thought
I got it
to school without it.
And
Who fancies a shower after sport?
Cowabunga? But one of the kids told me, "Oh yeah, I got that for my birthday, and it's amazing because you put it in the bubble bath, like you put it in the bath, and then the turtles rise up in bubble form out of the bubbles." And he told me all the poses they were all doing.
Yeah.
But so I sat in the bath.
But you believed him?
Yeah, I believed him. I sat in the bath just looking at the bubbles intently, waiting for them to turn into Leonardo.
Like a magic eye.
Yeah, I was like, "Here we go." And at no point did it. At one point, I was like, "That could be one of them sitting on their back."
That could be Splinter. At the very least.
Krang. Krang is the only one it could be, is that brain.
I mean, I'd settle for Bebop and Rocksteady at this point. Any others?
As a kid who claims that his uncle invented the twister. As in the
ice cream.
not the game, yeah.
No, yeah, well, that's good.
And the way we tested him was by saying, name the flavours then that involved in the twister. And he did it, pineapple ice
His
cream.
story checks out.
Yeah,
Raspberry
raspberry and lime of the ice, and then pineapple ice cream, which...
I always presumed it was vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, well, you would have been caught out on that line, mate.
So you knew the answer?
Yeah, we all do, mate.
We all knew.
Well, I think one kid knew for something. They put a twister in his bag that he always carried around with him just in case someone was lying about.
In his cool box.
Yeah. Hold on a sec. But, and the best one at school was because this one was really, it wasn't elaborate, so none of us caught on to it all the way through secondary school. A kid called Campbell.
Was that it?
Yeah. Well, that's all I'm going to say. His thing was that he went to air cadets. Was the thing, and he would tell everyone. And the thing is that he got made fun of for it. And like people, and no one thought in a million years it was a lie. Because he did it all the way from year 7, all the way through to we were in GCSEs, and then someone called Andrew Cox decided that he was going to go to Air Cadets as well, just to wind up Campbell more than anything. And he turned up and Campbell wasn't there, and he said to the guy, it's like at the end of a horror film, to the guy, "Where's Campbell?" And the guy went, "Who's Campbell?" And he had never been to Air Cadets.
That's
and
amazing.
And we were all the next day at school, just all waiting for him, just like.
What did he say? How did he explain it?
I don't think. I think he just avoided it. I can't even remember what his reaction was. I remember we all went, "We can't believe you lied about it," and he was just.
Oh, you know,
just quite cool about it. It's like, yeah, you know, I'd have
fair enough
something.
to Campbell.
Yeah.
It's astonishing.
He did once tell us that he crashed a jet in a field, and we were.
You brought that.
Well, that was what started the suspicions, to be honest.
This is James Acaster. Hello.
Hello.
We come to the crux of the matter, which is your classic scrapes,
Indeed.
which has now got its own hashtag.
It has.
Which people have misread, but let's not go into that.
Yep. Not that kind of comic.
Thankfully. So is your classic scrape a scrape from this week or a scrape from the archives?
It's from the archives because it's the only time that a lie has got me into a scrape. But
nice.
When I used to just have a part-time job in a kitchen, I would work 12 hours a week and have a lot of free time, and I would look for any way to fill that time whatsoever.
Probably at a low cost, considering your income.
As long as it was free. And once my dad got a letter in the post, which it just said to the homeowner, so I just opened it. That's how bored I was.
Yeah,
and it was an invitation. Addressed to my dad to a French porcelain exhibition at,
I'm already on board.
at the Park Hotel in Kettering. And I waited till my dad got home and said, "Do you want to go to this?" He said, "No." I said, "Are you okay if I just pretend to be you?"
And he said, "Well, go on then."
Yeah.
But it will be a joint Christmas and birthday present.
Yeah. I did hear him and my mother having a chat later on about how concerned they were about my future. He really wanted to go to that porcelain exhibition. I think something was wrong with him. He used to be filling his time, Diane. But so I went. It was in the daytime. 2 days later, and I turned up, and it was because I arrived at reception, said I was here for the porcelain exhibition, and they sent me through to this little room where there was a buffet. It was quite a lovely spread, to be honest. But then, like, it was me and 10 elderly people. Everyone else was at least in their mid-70s. I was at the time, I think I was 19.
Were you labouring under the kind of idea that you were David Acaster?
Yeah, so I was turning up as David Acaster.
Okay, you're a very young homeowner.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm pretty successful," and everyone else very old.
Yeah,
and
understandably.
Yeah. And then the doors opened to this main room. We got ushered into there, and it wasn't an exhibition at all. It was basically, there was a table at the far end of a big long room. There's a long table, like horizontally. We all told us to stand behind that in a line, like a police lineup.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that, there was.
They said, which one of these people
has lied about their identity? There was like a.
When you talk about this like this is a normal situation, at this point, would alarm bells not ring?
Yeah, at this point, I was like, "Oh no, I never find scrape I've got myself into." So, we're standing there. There was this behind the table. There was like these shelves that all had like porcelain, like
so you're in the right
dishes
place.
and plates. I was like, "Well, yeah, maybe." At the time, to be honest, I was thinking this is the worst exhibition ever. This is just some porcelain. And then behind that, there was like a big screen, like a partition, and this man walked from behind it. This big, tall guy in a suit and glasses, and he said, "He's a French guy." I'm not going to do the accent. He said,
"Go on, have a go."
"Welcome."
Don't do it.
No. He said, "Welcome. My name is Michelle."
Yeah.
And when he said Michelle, one of the old guys really laughed for ages. Like, one of the old men couldn't stop laughing that this guy's name is a man called Michelle.
Yeah, classic scrape.
Yeah, and he said...
that better not be the end of the scrape.
Yeah, and then we went home. But he said Limarche is the name of the porcelain company. And he said it's one of the most respected porcelain companies in the whole world. You have been selected. You're a very lucky few. One of you will be walking home today with over £5,000 worth of French porcelain for free.
Wow. That's a bargain.
Yeah, we were there like, oh, I can't believe this. This is a. I was like,
Anyone would say you might have walked into a massive con here.
at the time, I thought if all we have to do to win this is some physical exercise, I'm going to win. If it's a Royal Rumble.
The assault course from the Krypton Factory.
It's not, if we're doing the Travelator and the Gladiators. They said, to decide which one of you will walk away with the porcelain, I hand over to my assistant Juliet. And then Michelle went back behind the partition, but it turned out he was way too tall. Like, you could see his head if he stood behind it, so he had to crouch, and I was right at the end of the line, so I could see him, and he was crouching with his hands on his knees, and his job for the rest of the presentation was to shush the old people when they got too excited. So every now and again they'd start talking, and he'd just go shh, really loud.
When you said he went behind the partition, I was hoping he'd come out with a wig on. Bonsoir, my name is Juliet.
Glasses off. But Juliet came out and she was telling us all about the history
Was she
of
French?
She was French, yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly higher voice, pretty much the accent that I did before. And she was telling us the history of it and how respected it is. And the most embarrassing bit, she got one of the plates, and each plate had like a different flower or something painted on it.
Yeah.
And one of them had a thistle on it. And I'm very my accent's quite lazy. I don't do th sounds and I just say f's. Yeah. And it turns out there's no th sounds in the French language, so they struggle with it as well. But they make the effort.
Yeah.
So she went on here is a French thistle, like that. And all the old people, instead of letting it go, just went, it's a thistle.
Oh.
And then for about 5 minutes, back and forth, it was going, thistle? Thistle! Thistle? Thistle! Thistle? And that was one of the best things I've ever seen. But she passed a plate to one of the old ladies, and she said, say you get this out of your cupboard. What's the first thing you do with it? And the old lady didn't know what to do. She panicked and licked the plate. just licked it properly up. It just held it in two hands.
That is a panic.
Again, it's full on the whole width of the plate.
Well, there's no width, James. The plate's...
Sorry, was it radius?
I don't know the plate.
But licked it.
Diameter.
And then obviously Juliet shook her head and said, no, you would turn it round and you would look at the official Limache stamp on the back, and that was...
Bloody hell.
Quite awkward.
Juliet's fun to have.
Yeah. But at the end, she basically said, this is how we decide who's going to walk away with this porcelain. So she put 3 simple questions. If you answer these questions correctly, you win the porcelain. So I was like, right, here we go.
You must have been very excited.
Yeah. First question was, did you like the porcelain I showed you today?
1. Yeah, straight away.
Hands up if you liked them. No one went out in the first round. Question 2.
Are you thinking I'm in here?
I thought this is looking good. Question 2.
Do you remember the war? Oh, well, that's it.
Question 2. Who would like to have some of this porcelain for free?
You're still in the game.
But the thing is...
Any foolers at that stage?
No, and the thing is that Juliet went along the line counting the hands up 12 times, like properly, and she got to me at the end of the second round, and she looked at me and went, I'll have you know, I'm a psychologist, and I can tell if you are lying. I was like, oh, I would genuinely like this porcelain for free.
I'm only working 12 hours a week.
Yeah. Third question was, if we give you this porcelain for free, would you be prepared to have your initials engraved on the back of every single bit of porcelain, which costs £500 per initial? All the hands went down apart from one lady.
Oh, no.
And Juliet went, everyone with their hands down, get out the room, you're eliminated. And as we walked out, the last thing I saw before I went through the door, I turned around, I saw the old lady with her hand up. Slowly, she started looking around and realised she was the only one with her hand up still. And the last thing I saw was her punch in the air in celebration.
Oh,
well,
that is an astonishing scrape. Not so much for you as the old lady.
It's mainly a scrape for me, that old lady.
And now, every time you go to a house, you do check the back to see whether her initials are on it, and if it's the same old lady.
She's licked the front.
Was it the liquor?
Well, I think it might have been. It might have been the liquor. But it felt like she had a point to prove by the end.
She licks every plate to make sure the initials don't come up. So we're talking today about when you've gone to the wrong things, or rented the wrong things, or whatever, the wrong things. Have you presumably have stuff on this.
Got about 3 stories about this, to be honest. But
Let me just pull up a chair and have a sip of my tea.
one of the shorter ones, when me and my friend Graham went to see Terminator 3.
Yeah, I mean, why?
Why? It was the best of a bad bunch.
Oh, right,
sometimes you go to cinema and you don't really know what you're going to go and see, and you just look at the board and you just make the decision based on what is going to make you regret your life. So we did that, and Graham likes to, when we're going to the cinema, shout really immature phrases.
Yeah.
So as soon as we walked in, we're behind that big wall where you couldn't see anyone. He just shouted bums really, really loud.
Yes,
just bums.
classic,
I think that's pretty acceptable.
Yeah.
I shouted that, but really, and I think because it's so immature, it was more embarrassing. We walked in and sat down. We thought we were walking in during the trailers. We realised we were walking in halfway through a different showing of Terminator 3 during a very tense moment where the lady Terminator's looking for John Connor behind a box, and we sat down, realised what it was, and instead of waiting for me, Graham just legged it, just ran out, really ran, and then as I was walking out holding popcorn and a big drink, an old man as I walked past him just went, bums.
Do you think he was referring to him saying that, or that was his reference to what he thought you were like?
I think that man was probably quite happy that he got to do both in one. He's like, I think they're a couple of bums. I do not approve of what they said.
Any others?
Well, you know our friend comedian Mike Wozniak.
I do. Wonderful comedian.
Yeah. Everyone should try and see Mike if they can.
I had to listen to the podcast to check it was like all right, and last time I referred to him, turns out I was having a moustache, which is not actually the kind of praise you want.
But he does have a moustache.
He's better than it. He's got a moustache, but he's better than that.
He is better than that. He doesn't need it. But he was doing a preview of his Edinburgh show in London, and I really wanted to go and see it. I had the night off, so I went along to the venue that was listed in Time Out. And as I got there, the audience was walking in. I just made it in the nick of time, so I ran in on the back of the queue, got in, I sat down. All the lights were down, and then the lights, a very faint spotlight just came up, and then there was someone's face who I was like, that man doesn't have a moustache. That doesn't look like Wozniak. And then the person, but I couldn't really quite see it. They started swinging. They had a torch on a skipping rope. They started swinging it around their head. So it was like blinding the audience to go around. They started doing a monologue about a lighthouse. And I thought, this is a very different direction for Mike. I mean,
Mike has ripped up the rule book.
His last show was a load of well-observed comic routines, slightly smutty, but he's never done a monologue about a lighthouse before, especially as his opening gambit. And then I realised I was watching a three-man play about 3 men who go crazy in a lighthouse, and I was at the back of the room at this point, furthest away from the door. I couldn't leave.
No.
And I watched the whole thing.
Was it good?
It was actually quite enjoyable. Turns out Mike had double booked, or the venue double booked, and Mike had to go and do his preview elsewhere.
I know there's lots of people wanting a lighthouse-based play in Mike's preview. This is Josh Whittaker on a Saturday morning on XFM, and we arrive at what Neil said is many people's favourite part of the show to me. He said bill it as that, but I've got such an ego I refuse to.
I mean, not many things are as good as the tea slurping.
I know it is. It's actually the bit of the show I look forward to most, which is James Acaster. Hello, James.
Hello, Josh.
Going through telling us about one of his legendary scrapes. This didn't even start as a feature idea. It just kind of organically grew, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Just as the start, because my stupid life.
So what have you got for us this week, James?
Well, this is the third time I've gone to the wrong thing. I mean, I've really.
No, you're in the right studio.
Yeah.
You weren't on Choice FM, were you?
I was supposed to be sitting down with Charlotte Church. This was quite a few years ago now, when I had a lot of time on my hands and I was looking for any way to fill an evening. So, and I feel like I should build up to this by saying that. So that, but I went to. I googled to see what was on in Kettering. Where
Nothing came up, so
yeah. So I stayed in. No, Basically, there was something called Ketman Board Games Club on, and I don't know if anyone has ever been to a board games club.
I haven't been to a board games club, no.
I'm a fan of board games.
Yeah, I like a board game as much as the next man.
Yeah, I mean the website was fairly.
What's your favourite?
I like. Well, I used to really love Cluedo, but I don't really want to say that because obviously that gives you the heads up. You've got about 10 minutes of material.
I've got about 10 minutes of material. I'm not going to just do it on X. Oh,
we go.
Cluedo, you say? Well, let me take you through this. No. So you turned up at the board games club.
Yeah, I bought a game called Thrice with me, which is
right.
Because I thought these people they play a lot of board games. If I bring Monopoly or something,
Yeah, God, you'd be laughed out of town.
Yeah, that'll be it. But also, I don't want to show off too much. Back of it. So, Thrice on the board game, it's
mid-level.
Tagline is a simple game of tactics. that's I thought that is modest,
right up their street.
Still fairly into that. They're going to go. He's not too cocky, but you know. So I bought that along with me. I had it in my backpack and got my friend James Bugg. Not to be confused with Jake Bugg, to come along with me.
Yeah, Jimmy Bugg.
Yeah, he did bring his own board game. He
Jimmy.
wanted getting on my fright action. Fair
Oh
enough.
no.
And we knocked on the door, the centre, and this guy answered. He was wearing a Star Trek T-shirt.
Of course he was.
And he looked.
It was Mufti Day.
He was very confused. And he went, yeah, I was like, we're here for the board games club. And he went, oh, okay. Led us up some stairs into this room.
Oh no.
And we went into the room, and there's about 3 different tables.
Was it a house?
It was the Mind Centre, the Kettering Mind
Right,
Centre. Now
okay.
but they just used it in the evening. That's all they did.
Yeah.
With board games club hired it out. But we went in the room, and there's 3 different tables, and very
You're telling
quickly.
me the board games club couldn't afford their own premises.
I mean, the budget was pretty tight that year for the Kettering Board Games Club.
I interject. Carry on.
No, interject all you like. I'm not going to start, wielding the whip on my, during my scrapes. I'm not getting so indulgent on them. No one can interject with their own opinions or emotions at any point. But basically, here's the first thing that struck me when I walked in. There wasn't a board in sight. Which I felt. Now, there were some games, but the games were. I don't know if you've ever played or ever. You'll sort of be familiar with games like Warhammer.
I know of others, but I can't think of them. Well, there's Warhammer 40,000, which was set in the future.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Someone's more of a connoisseur than I gave him credit for.
What was it called? Games Workshop.
Yeah, so it was stuff like that. So there was one army one, with all the little figurines, and there's another one like loads of fantasy figures like elves and wizards and stuff. And then another table they were playing like a card game, like trumpet each other and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, well,
Magic the Gathering.
It was Magic the Gathering. It was Magic.
That's what people at my school were into.
I thought I recognised you. Board games. But I saw this and I thought, well, Thrice is staying in the backpack. I'm not getting out a simple game of tactics in front of these people. They'll laugh me out of town.
Not an orc inside.
Yeah. So they were basically like, what game do you guys want to play? And I was like, I said the war one because I was like, well, that's my most familiar. That's at least set in real life. I can't even begin to imagine what an orc does. So I was like, I played the army one.
Spare time.
But it was even more because we sat down. We were both like, there were 2 people playing the army game, and me and James were paired up with one of each. And I was with one guy, and he said, "Right, I've made up the rules to this game." So I invented the rules last night, and we've all got them written down on this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And
oh my word!
And they said, first of all, let's decide what team do you want to be, the British or who wants to be the Germans? And no one was volunteering, so I went, "We'll be the Germans." And when I said, it was like I was actually saying, I wish the Germans had won. It was like everyone looked at me like, oh, you can't say that. But we ended up being the Germans, and I figured out about 30 seconds into the game that the British, this guy had painted his figurines himself. He painted the British Army to look like the characters from popular TV show Dad's Army. And at one point, I had to make the decision and shoot Pike in the face. and because you got to properly roll the dice, it told you if you got a headshot or not. And I properly shot Pike in his face.
Ian Lavender.
Ian Lavender, who sadly, I mean, he's one of the few cast members who's still alive, and I picked him off early doors. As the game progressed,
Did Clive Dunn face you out?
Yeah, Clive. I was like, right, Dunn's next.
This is for Grandad.
But as the
Who
game
are yours dressed as? The cast of Alfieda's own pet?
if only. But as the game progressed, I made worse and worse decisions. Most of the time, I chose to hide behind a rock, and my teammate
In the game?
yeah.
Not in the room.
James, it's your go. You can't get out of this. How did you get a rock into the mine centre? But basically, my teammate got very frustrated with me and started saying stuff like, "You do realise we're going to lose if you keep this up," and we did lose. And he did not. He refused to speak to me for the rest of the evening. That was it. I was in the bad books. I had to go and make the teas as a punishment, and also get the biscuits. And I bought some. I found some caramel digestives, and they told me to put those back because he told me to put those back when we lost.
Amazing. Well, that is a classic scrape. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I can't believe you shot Ian Lavender in the face.
Also, none of them said goddbye to us. That is another thing I'd like to add.
Oh, no, of course they didn't. You're a bloodthirsty killer.
I'd never come back.
Don't kill him, Pike. Oh, well, thank you, James. That's going to take... Well, I say every week. That's going to take some... Now, James, as always, every week, you have a scrape. Basically, your life is a story of escapades that have gone wrong, and you come in to tell us one a week. And we call them your classic scrapes, because that is what the audience have created the hashtag of.
Yeah.
So what was your scrape this week?
I thought, because we're talking about texts and confusion with texts, what was that? This is years ago now. There's this girl that I really...
How long ago?
4
Did you talk
years
into
ago.
the wrong cup on a piece of string?
Yes. I sent a telegram to the wrong maiden. Do you think that ever happened?
Sent it to the wrong wench?
Have you ever made that mistake?
No.
The page just totally...
Yeah, presumably. You get letters
Messenger.
to the wrong address.
Yes, messengers must have gone to the wrong person.
Wrong carrier pigeon.
Anyway,
We digress.
probably about 4 years ago, there's this girl that I really fancied her.
Yeah.
And she knew that I did.
Yeah.
Because I'd told her.
How had you told her?
I had done one of my classic, not scrapes, classic misreaders of the situation where I think that because I feel a certain way, then surely
Yeah.
this is mutual. And I very often, if I fancy someone, just tell them early doors and mess it up.
Yeah.
So I got overexcited.
You go all in.
Said, "Hey, we both feel like this, right?" She goes, "Not really." Oh, great. So, but we continued to be friends because we got on really well.
Yeah.
But things were like a bit awkward. I was like, you know what? Probably just doesn't really want me around much. I kept my distance. And then one Christmas, this is about a month after I'd told her that I like her, I got a text from her.
Oh, no.
"I'm at a Christmas party and bored out of my mind. Please come and rescue me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "This is," and then she put the address at the bottom of the text. I was like, "This is brilliant."
Playing into my hands.
Hello.
2 glasses of eggnog and let's see where it leads.
Yeah. So drove. He didn't even text back saying yes. I just drove there. So excited, just got in the car.
Yeah.
Straight to the venue, which by the way was a primary school because her dad worked at a primary school, used to at least. So everyone was kind of, it was like the staff do. And I got there and I didn't know what door to get, so I texted her saying I'm outside. And then she came out. She looked crestfallen, just absolutely gutted, and I was like, "Oh, this is a strange reaction to United shining armours here." Like,
Maybe the party had picked up, you were thinking.
Yeah,
She was disappointed she'd had to come outside at all.
yeah, and she literally said this. She went, "Oh, that's a group text, and you're the only one who showed up."
Oh, no.
And I was like, "Right," and she, very reluctant. "Do you want to come in?" I was like, "Oh, okay." I went in, and we were by about 30 years the youngest people there. Like everyone else was very old, and we sat down on this table with a load of other pensioners, and she went, "I'm just going to go and get a drink," and then she just went, and honestly didn't see her again for the rest of the... She did. She kind of went into the kitchen and talked to other people. I was sat at this table with there's about 3 old ladies. And the music, they were playing 5, 6, 7, 8 by steps really loud, I remember, at one point, when one of them was trying to talk to me and I couldn't hear what she was saying. And every time they went 5, 6, 7, 8, it's like it was counting me in to the next time I had to try and shout it. Eventually, I hit a point in the night where I thought, well, this is awful.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just try and have the best night ever to rub her face in it, so that when she...
Yeah. How long were you there? Why didn't you just cut and run?
Because I honestly didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared. You know, it's like someone...
Yeah.
It's like suddenly someone springs a surprise, throws a bucket of water in your face.
Yeah.
You don't know them instantly. So I was like, I don't really... And so what I did was I just got on the dance floor and started dancing, and it was me and one old man, and that was it. And we were dancing to... It was Virtual Insanity.
Right, by Jamiroquai. You weren't just saying it was Virtual Insanity.
Yeah, Virtual Insanity. Look at the Christmas classic. when I want to think Christmas, I put Virtual Insanity on. And me and him...
Return of the Space Cowboy, they didn't have it on them.
Yeah, me and him just dancing. And this is the most heartbreaking bit. I then, while dancing the Virtual Insanity, I remember looking at the door, the main double doors, there was a window in it, and seeing her with a bunch of young people who had replied to the group text there. And she'd obviously gone, don't go in that main room. A really weird guy is in there. And then they were looking at me and probably going, yep, he's dancing to Jamiroquai on his own with an old man.
Oh, my word.
And that was I ended up making friends with a lot of the old people, if I'm honest. I had a brilliant night.
Would be friends for life.
Yeah.
None of them are still with us.
Yeah, all of them. Their funerals were brilliant. I was invited by group text. Wasn't meant to be there, but I turned up.
Thank you, James, as always. Thank you, James. You'll be back next week, presumably?
Hopefully.
This is XFM and this is Josh Widdicombe. We're talking about bedroom bands when you're a teenager. And joined by James Acaster for the final hour, who I'm presuming will have numerous anecdotes on this subject. So to recap, you're a man that gets in scrapes and was also in a series of bad bands we've established over the previous weeks.
I resent the term bad, for one. Even the didgeridoo flute conga trio was good while it lasted, for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So, take us away, James. I mean, let's not cue this up any further.
Many bedroom bands. The first band I formed with other people, me and my friend Steve Nichols at school, formed 30-Foot Smurf. Really stick it to people.
How old were you?
I was probably 13 at that point.
Yeah.
12, 13.
30 foot or 13?
30 foot.
Oh, yeah.
30. It's like, imagine...
the stars.
It's like, you think you know Smurfs? Imagine a massive one, mate. So, shut up.
This is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Actually based on a line from a Presidents of the United States of America song.
Oh, my word.
So, really.
What was the band like?
Mainly, it's kind of like Green Day. Kind of like trying
the two of you?
Trying to be like Green Day. Yeah, just the two of us, no vocals, just like an instrumental Green Day without a bass.
That was great.
Hoping that a big shot record producer would walk past the window and go, that's exactly what Green Day have been missing. or
I've always felt the bass and the vocals gets in the way of me really enjoying their power chords.
Yeah, exactly. But before that, I used to do. I found on my sister's keyboard that you could record up to 5 instruments, make a little song that would last a maximum of 1 minute.
Yeah,
and
no need for it to be any longer.
No, quite frankly, that's long enough. And
to make a point,
I got my little boombox which I could record on. I'd set the tape up, and then I'd play the song. I'd record it and play it, and then it's kind of like influenced by the Prodigy, really Prodigy songs. And then I'd go downstairs and play it to my dad and make my dad sit down and listen to these. Like I'd have written like 10 songs that day. I did sit down and listen to them. And my name that I worked under, even though I am a slender gentleman and have been my whole life, was Fat Kid. With an F, not even with a PH, and one word as well. That was before emails were big.
So would Fat Kid have had a MySpace? This was pre-MySpace.
This is pre-MySpace, people having emails and having to save stuff as one word all the time.
Did your dad like it?
He would sit and listen to it, and he would
endure it.
He would go, oh, well done. And then that'd be it. And then I'd go, oh great, I'm going to go and do some more. It's like, if I don't give him some constructive criticism soon, this is going to be my whole life.
So what kind of stuff was it? Like Prodigy dance?
Yeah, I would basically find the synth noises on the keyboard, and I would use the pitch bend a lot. So I'd be going for like a minute.
Were you big into the kind of ecstasy scene?
I was at age 9, beyond belief in that bedroom as fat kid. I just really loved the Prodigy.
Did you ever play it to anyone else?
No, just my dad, because I thought that's my target demographic. I don't really want to. I thought there's no point if David Acaster.
You thought
likes it.
if I can bring dance music to the middle age,
Yeah.
you were like a prototype of Moby.
Yeah. I was like, David Acaster, he likes Buffalo Springfield. He loves listening to Neil Young. I think I'll sit him down in front of Fat Kid. You can listen to that.
I think more bands should have just played to their parents to kind of see if it's okay.
There are quite a few who I can think of who would have been better if they had kept it that way.
Hey?
Yeah,
That's the
some
point.
people, I could have had another Jackson 5 on my hands. Third my day. If he really got into it, that would have been it. I'd have been swept up. So I was playing with fire.
Sadly, your dad's he's a teacher rather than a music mogul.
Yeah, he wouldn't exactly play it to his class.
Well, thank you, James.
Josh Widdicombe, XFM.
And we know what time it is, James. It's time for your classic scrape of the week. What adventure? Yeah, you're very, very quiet.
Yeah.
As if you're going, oh, what? I didn't know you were going to spring this on me.
I beg your sweet pardon.
So, each week, you relate... Is it a scrape from the archives? Or
This is an archive scrape due to the
scrape.
music. It's another music one because of the theme
music
for
theme.
today's...
Take it away, James.
Before the heady days of the conga band with the didgeridoo, I used to go down to... There was a regular jam night at a Kettering football club.
Of course there was.
Because there's a bar on the side of it. And everyone else there was like... I was the young... I'd turn up and...
with your Prodigy. With your Prodigy
I
keyboard.
was about... I don't know how old I would have been. Actually, this particular one occurred... I don't know what year it occurred in. It was 2001, so I'd have been, what?
16.
Thank you, Josh. I was 16. I mean, that is embarrassing. The really sad thing about that was I didn't even try for a second to figure that out. I just looked at you like you were Vorderman.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, mate.
I'm good at maths.
But I just turned up every week. And one week I turned up and everyone else was like in their 50s.
Yeah.
Like much older than me, and we'd be playing like old blues songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I got up one week, and basically I was playing drums with there's a guy on guitar, another guy on guitar, a bassist. They were all like mid 50s, and they started playing All Along the Watchtower.
Yeah.
And the problem was, I didn't know this because I'd never heard All Along the Watchtower at that age. At that age, I was completely, it's like when
The Bob Dylan or Jimi Hendrix version?
it was the Jimi Hendrix version, and I know that now, but like it's not like when someone says to you, have you seen like a really famous film, and you know that everyone's seen that, and so you lie momentarily and go, I've seen Jaws, and you haven't, and then they start. Yeah, they start talking about the plot. And and then you just try and...
Shark, when will he leave people alone, eh?
Yeah, that shark. I'll tell you what else is good in sharks is Shark's Tale. Have you seen that? I've seen it. And so I'd steer it towards, more your home turf. But when you're actually, it's very different when if someone went to you, let's act out a scene from Jaws right now, and then you've got to riff it. And so I was...
I think this boat's adequately sized.
Yeah. This boat is brilliant, perfect. Could ask for a more spacious boat. But so they started playing. I didn't know they were playing. I thought they'd made up a song.
These guys are good.
I was like, this guy. I mean, he's wasted his talent here at Kettering Football Club.
Is there a watchtower in Caring?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't realise. They started playing All Along the Watchtower, and I let them play for a bit, and then I joined in with like the most disco beat you've ever like. I literally heard the song and was like, you know what this song
You can
needs?
take the boy out the Prodigy. But you can't.
Fat Kid still reigns supreme at the drum stool. So I started playing this properly, like a really disco-y beat, and everyone in the room is pretty old and was looking at me disapprovingly. I was thinking, I'm in time. I don't know what this guy's problem is,
I mean, I'm 10 years out.
Yeah, I'm really jazzing this up. And I realised halfway through when he sang the lyric "All Along the Watchtower," I was like, "Oh no, I've heard of that." I thought,
And it wasn't by Chic.
yeah. This isn't a Bee Gees song, is it? This is. I started thinking, like, who is it by? And then the worst thing, what is worse than realising the song is by Jimi Hendrix is realising it's a song by Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan. is the one you go, oh no, two of the greats are murdering two people at the same time. I like this more and more. They're playing, looking, and they cut the song short, which I didn't know.
You didn't know?
I didn't know until after. So my dad was at the back watching and said, "Yeah, they cut that short."
Another disappointing musical experiment in front of your dad.
Yeah, but I remember coming off stage and two people came up to me. One person came up to me and he went, "No one plays a disco beat to all along the watchtower." I thought, sorry.
Said, nice to meet you, Mr. Zimmerman.
Yeah. And then the next person came up to me and he went, "That's one of the most horrifying things I've ever witnessed." Right now,
Amazing.
Ben, that is pretty dramatic as it is as a comment, right? Even more dramatic is that this happened on 9/11. Right, I'm not even lying. It was on the day it happened. I got this jam night.
You sure he hadn't just been watching the news?
Yeah, he was pointing at the TV, and I was taking it so badly. I was like, "Come on, mate, just disco."
Didn't the jam night get cancelled?
No, jam night went on. I think they thought if we cancelled the jam night, the terrorists have won. So keep it going.
And I think if there's any way to stand up to terrorists, it's with the party on atmosphere of disco music.
Yeah, but let's show them how much we like to party. You can't get more Western than disco.
And we now come to the point in the show where James Acaster is still here. Hello.
Hello, Josh.
Treats us to what have become known as his classic scrapes, a story from the archives of him getting into a scrape, or from the present. Is it an archive scrape or a?
It is an archive scrape. It's
You're delving through the archives recently.
yeah. Well, you know, I've had quite a nice time with things of late. My life in general's been alright. I overheard someone telling a friend about a scrape on the way here.
Oh yeah.
On the tube, but they went on about it too much. Kept on going off. That time we got stuck in that lift. And I just kept on bringing
You
it up.
wanted to lean across and go, do you know who I am?
Yeah, excuse me, do you not want to bring up getting stuck in the lift stories around me? Because that is... I'll show you a scrape, love.
I've got some podcasts to prove it.
Yeah.
I'm the scrape master.
I've had an awful life, so I don't want to hear about you getting stuck in the lift.
So what is your scrape this week, James?
I think this is the first overseas scrape.
Oh!
This is when I was on a holiday.
Transcontinental scrapes?
Yeah, I went to America. I went to San Francisco on my own.
And there is the scrape.
Yeah. Well, I was staying in a hostel.
Yeah.
Which I've never done before, because my friend who I was meant to be staying with basically changed her mind. I was about to leave England and she went, actually, you're not. I don't think we're around, because she was at university. I don't think we're allowed people. I stayed at this hostel, and I had to share a room with a bunch of strangers, and I was a bit kind of wary of my stuff. But I mean, we didn't have lockers or whatever, and I'd booked to go to visit Alcatraz.
Classic.
On the final day.
Of course you have.
You know, everyone recommended it to me.
Yeah,
so excited about it. And
when they said you should go to Alcatraz, I don't think they were recommending it to you.
it's just awful things that I was doing.
Yeah.
Mate, you deserve to go to Alcatraz. I'm not even joking.
You know where you should be, mate? Alcatraz.
Oh, cool, brilliant. Well, what are the opening hours? No, you're not understanding me. Get out of my shop. But I was on. If you don't know Alcatraz, it's on a little island, and you have to get there by boat. And I was on the boat.
It's a prison.
Oh yeah. Also, it used to be a prison. Hence, if you didn't know that little bit of banter between me and Josh probably made no sense. Why would someone send you to Alcatraz if you're in their shop? It sounds ridiculous. It's a bigger shop. If we haven't got those things here, have you tried Alcatraz? They have a wonderful selection of hot chocolates. But I was on the boat on the way to visit. It's like the biggest maximum security prison, like. Yeah, from whenever it's now open to the public. You can do guided tours and stuff. It's fantastic. And I was on the ferry on the way there, and thought I might buy something from the gift shop when I'm there. Have a look at my wallet, see how much money I've got. I looked at my wallet and realised that all my credit cards had been stolen.
Oh,
which the worst time to figure that out is when you're on a boat, because you can't do it. You're not. You can't just run to the. And also. Pangs of irony when you've had someone has stolen your credit cards and you are the one being shipped to a maximum security prison. But so I was just really panicky, and I was like running around the ferry.
Running around the boat.
Probably running around trying to see, looking over the side, trying to see how close we were to Alcatraz, which everyone else has thought he is really looking forward to Alcatraz. he can't wait to get to Alcatraz. I mean, we're all excited, mate, but the ferry can only move so fast. But as soon as the ferry arrived at Alcatraz, I ran to there's a help desk. And I ran there and I said, "You got to help me, my credit cards have been stolen." And this lady looked at me like I was like this British tourist believed that if you get mugged in San Francisco, the first thing you've got to do is report directly to Alcatraz. And or even like for what she knew, I could have been mugged in London. Got straight on a plane. Like, I'm taking this to Alcatraz. But I had to explain to her, look, I need to, my phone doesn't work over here. I need to use your phone so I can cancel my credit cards. And she went, no, this phone is for staff use only, and you can't use it. Which, like, for one, I've just arrived at a prison, so I should get a phone call.
Hey!
but I said to her, I need to cancel my cards. You can, and it was back and forth. I was angry that she was like aiding a criminal. I said at many a point, you're aiding the escape of a criminal. And what would the people of Alcatraz think about this?
Yeah.
And eventually, I argued for so long that the ferry went back to the mainland. So, and like, what they've cleverly done with Alcatraz is made it very difficult to leave the island without the use of a ferry. And I think that was the point almost. So, I had to wait another 45 minutes for this ferry to come back. So I was just helpless.
Yeah.
And so in the meantime, took the audio tour, which
you didn't enjoy.
You don't enjoy it at all because
you're
so angry at criminals and just any sort of like wrongs that you're just walking around really kind of like just fuming and listening to the whole thing is narrated by like guards who used to work there and prisoners who used to be there. So like I was just there every time a prisoner was going about how tough it was. I was so happy. I was the only person walking around going, yeah, that's right, and like
throw away the key.
Going on about murderers and people like I was
you were waiting for them to get to credit card crime section.
Hurry up and talk about the people who steal credit cards. So where were they kept? Hopefully the worst room of them all.
So did you get your cards back?
Well, what happened is eventually I got on the ferry, went back to the hostel to use the phone at the hostel, by which point I'd narrowed down. I'd also thought someone in my room may have stolen it, and I knew exactly who I thought it was, because he had been mainly just because he was the only one who had annoyed me the whole time I've been there, because he had brought a girl back and done it in the bunk above me a couple of days before, and I don't know if you ever tried to sleep with that kind of happenings going on. It was shaking the bed. It was horrible. But and they knew I was there, and the thing is, it wasn't his bunk. That was the really annoying thing. He relocated just to anyway. I got back and I was like, it's probably him. But I went. I had to use the payphone at the hostel, so I went up to get. I had some spare money in my bag that I'd left.
Can't see where this is going.
Opened it, and obviously all my credit cards were just in my bag and falling out in the bag I'd left in the hospital, and I had cut my trip to Alcatraz short. Because
that's quite a bleak
cards had been
end.
stolen.
At least you got them back, James.
I got them back, and I went out and spent it all on Babana Mart.
This is Josh Whittaker on a Saturday morning, still joined by Ellis James.
Hello.
And James Acaster.
Yes.
Ellis James Acaster. That would be a lot cooler. It wouldn't be cool.
Wouldn't be that cool.
That'd be confusing and bad.
It's like one guy who's included his middle name in this. Not necessarily.
We're talking about two things this morning. Disappointing family holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Actually,
I could just say that to you, presumably.
The Acasters did quite well.
Did you?
On family holiday, yeah.
What did you do?
South of France, lovely. Where else? Kenya.
Blimey.
Well, I'm not going to slag Kenya off.
No.
It was brilliant. Italy 1 year.
So you never went on British holidays?
No, we did. Yeah, we did. But they were quite nice. I mean, we went to
Have you
Wales.
come back a changed man?
Yeah. Do you know what?
Have you found God?
I mean, well, this is coming on the radio now to tell you all about the love of Jesus. So, this is what it's not classic scrapes anymore, mate. It's classic salvation. That's what I bring to the show every single week. Oh.
So what? No bad holidays?
No
trips?
The holiday. Plenty of. the best school trip I ever had
Oh no, he's changed.
led to the worst. So
Oh, right, yeah, that's more like
it wasn't even a school trip. It was we went to the school trip. We went to Holland.
Yeah,
With the school band.
that's cool.
Yeah, that was great. It was like, and we had so much fun. I was the drummer in the wind band, and they would play like Lion Sleeps Tonight and such
Yeah.
classics, and I would be drumming along because that's what you do as a drummer.
Yeah.
And then about 3 years later, when I was like 17, one of the guys who was on the tour, one of the techs, the roadies, Daniel Drage, if he's listening, wanted to organise a reunion. So like he invited everyone, including the teachers who had left the school. And we were going to do the reunion in Derby. It's halfway between Kettering and York, where Mr. Taylor lived at that point. And we had to meet in the car park at 10 o'clock Saturday morning for a weekend away reunion.
What, the Derby car park?
No, the school car park.
Oh, right, I was going to say.
So I got
It's a
there.
car park that's exactly equidistant between Kettering and York.
Yeah. But Daniel Drage was there waiting at his car, and I got there and I was like, brilliant, I'm the second one here. And he went, no, you're the last one here. It's me and you and Mr. Taylor. And we drove to Derby and met Mr. Taylor in a travel lodge. And then watched the England versus Greece game when Beckham went through on a free kick or whatever it was. And then Drage and Taylor got absolutely wasted. and I had to go around Derby town centre with them at night with them walking around. And I just didn't know, I was like completely out of my depth. I didn't really know either of them very well. And
Why
then,
had you been invited?
because it was meant to be a reunion for everyone who went on the Holland tour.
You were the only one
I
that...
was the only one who actually
Right.
took it seriously. And then went back to the hotel, and in the morning, I awoke to them waking me up and saying, very much my old music teacher, going, we're trashing the hotel room. So I woke up to them flipping the mattresses over and like so that, and my contribution to trashing the hotel room was to open all the milk. I opened the little things of milk and I left them on the side. So I was like,
What, the little...
the
milk
Irish
made, right?
yeah, those little ones. I just opened them. So
Didn't drink
I
them?
peeled off. I didn't drink them, but I also didn't spill them anywhere. I just left them. They're unusable now. And they're gonna have to pour them down the sink. And
Amazing.
And went back to Kettering.
I think after a minute when I was worried, we can confidently say that the Scrape Master is back in town.
Yeah, don't worry. Haven't lost my touch. Don't worry. It's absolutely fine. My life is still as much for a joke as the one I left. This is an archive scrape. Basically, the first time I ever got in trouble in school.
Amazing.
I've only learned as an adult that my primary school wasn't the norm. That my primary school didn't have hand dryers or paper towels, and we had to bring our own towels into school. Which I thought was normal until I grew up, and like I remember being at a party and saying to people, yeah, like when you used to have to bring your towel into school, and everyone.
What are you comparing it to?
I can't remember what I was talking
What was
about.
the
I
conversation?
think someone said he had to bring something to work. It was something like that, and I was like, "Yeah, let's like being back in primary school again, guys. Bring your towel in." And they're like, "What?" But I went in one day and went to the toilets, washed my hands, soaped them up good. Horror of horrors. Discovered I'd forgotten my towel, which at St Andrew's Primary School.
Did you not leave your towel there?
No. Well, this thing is.
Mildew alert.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ellis. Like, you don't want a stinky towel by the end of the week. But so this probably occurred on a Thursday. Let's face it. Probably I took it home. Didn't realise until it was too late that the towel was missing. Now the cloakroom was next door to the toilets.
Yeah.
And I went in there with dripping hands. And a young lad called Simon. A young lad called Simon. I was also young. I wasn't an adult.
Dripping Hands wasn't one of your mates. That was.
Me and Dripping Hands walked in.
Oh, Delta Blues singer.
Native
Woke up in the
American.
morning. My hands were dripping.
Dripping Hands McSimmons. Talking about the corridors. So and Simon was there, and I said, Simon, I've forgotten my towel. And he was like, you can't use mine. I was like, right, well.
Why not?
He was. I don't know why. I mean, even at that age, you would think that you wouldn't care, but he was properly like, you can't use my towel. This is my towel. I said, right. And I looked around the cloakroom, and all that was just coats everywhere. So I was like, I'm wiping these on a coat.
Oh.
I mean, I have to do it.
You've gone rogue.
I'm in a panic. and I couldn't decide. And so I said to him, Simon, who do you like the least?
Oh, yes.
He says, pick someone.
Yeah.
He said Siobhan. I was like, all over Siobhan. She had a nice soft pink coat.
I hope she doesn't like dry coats.
Yeah. Have a bit of this. I'd never done anything naughty before, so I actually I don't know. Never even really got told off that much by my parents.
No, I can't
And
imagine
so
you did.
getting caught was a foreign concept to me. I didn't know that they
This
can
is
even
a good thing that happened to
they
you.
can
This is
follow
it.
you up.
You
So,
needed this lesson.
Yeah, I thought I'll do this. This will be fine. And then in registration, Mrs. Andrews said Siobhan's very upset. Streaky soap marks all over her coat.
Once again,
I'm
Streaky
sitting there.
Soap Marks wasn't one of your mates.
Blind lemon streaky soap marks.
Harmonica player in the band. Streaky soap marks and drippy hands, dripping hands. Weirdly, in that band, no washboard player. But you'd expect that pretty much be a washboard orchestra. Wasn't the case. Harmonica, guitar, and we had Puddles Murphy on the drums. Streaky soap marks all over the coat. And she said, you know, we need to know who did this, and if anyone has any information, I'd like you to come forward. Simon
Oh, that guy is a bad apple.
slowly raised his hand.
Oh, dear.
Dry as a bone.
By the
that
way,
as well.
and I'll never Dry as a Bone was the name of the first album by the band. Featuring tracks like Rubber Dub Dub and treat 'em clean, keep 'em king. He put his hand up, maintaining eye contact with me. I remember that he didn't even have like the shame to look away, and they said it was James Acaster. And I remember saying to him, "You said she was your least favourite in school," and he said, "Second least favourite."
Oh, that's amazing.
I had to clean the coat by hand.
Astonishing. That's one of the most astonishing. James's classic scrapes every week. If you don't know by now, and probably the best bit. James, would you agree?
Well, no. I don't want to hype it
Well,
up too much.
it wasn't my point either. It was Neil's point. So, sorry.
It's my favourite bit, Josh.
Is it?
You know, I'm normally in bed for the rest of the show.
You cad.
You know.
At the middle hour, your sauce 8 sugars, and then you get him. So, what's your scrape this week?
I thought, because we're talking about school, I talked about when I tried to revisit my old school, tried to go back to it. But basically, I used to be able to cut through.
Why did you try to go back to your old school?
Well, right, there's a route from my house to my friend Jake's house.
This is all very suspicious.
The quickest route to Jake's house from my parents' house is through the school. So when I was a kid,
through the classrooms?
no, through the
Down that
playground.
corridor.
Through the playground, thank you very much. Right, do some hopscotch on the way.
Sure.
Right.
Primary or secondary?
Secondary school.
Did you really have
hopscotch at secondary school?
No.
James did.
Yeah.
I just did me playing hopscotch on my own in the corner. Anyway, that was in my school days. I'd always cut through the school. It was fine. And then about 7 years after I'd left school, I was visiting my parents. I was on my way to my friend Jake's house, and I thought I could cut through the school again, and I could visit my old teachers on the way. I could be like, "How's it
What
going?"
they were teaching? Pop your hand
Well,
in.
no,
I don't remember me.
Yeah, well, I thought, some of them won't be working. Some of them will be in the staff room, and they're like, hour off. How's it going? Good to see you, Mr. Mason. Still rocking the gym? So,
God, it's a wonder they weren't more pleased to see you, James.
so I thought, now the thing is, in the 7 years I'd left school, a few things had changed. One,
Ex-pupils weren't allowed to walk their head into the staff.
well, that was basically the main thing. One of the main things was when I was in school, security wasn't as tight for one, because it was like I was I don't want to sound like an
gun
old.
against the back of your head.
Just all sorts of strangers coming in, playing hopscotch, high-fiving Mr. Mason for rocking the gym.
I don't want to sound like an old man here, but back in my day, right,
Strangers were allowed to walk through the school.
well, it was paranoid. But anyway, I noticed that there's really high fences all the way around the school, and also.
God, your school's like Glastonbury.
You had to have your photo on the ticket.
And, also, another thing that had changed was what time they had their lunch. Now,
It's nothing sacred.
yeah. So I walked in there at 1:30, which is normally half an hour after lunch is finished.
Right.
Turns out that is when their lunch starts. So I was.
Oh, that's crazy business.
I must have been starving.
I'd taken a few steps into the school and then heard the lunch bell, and then
That wasn't the lunch bell, mate. That was the intruder alarm.
Acaster's back. Mason, take him out. You're the only one he trusts. So
I love this image that you have in your head, that you walk back into school, the conquering hero. Come on, everyone just going, oh, Acaster's back.
I thought they were going to be really happy to see me, but like it just obviously the playground just flooded with kids I've never met before.
It's like Hard Day's Night. They're more pleased than I thought.
Yeah, guys, spare the fanfares. So playground flooded with kids, and then like immediately a dinner lady who was also not there when I was there. Like, this is a new member of staff walked up to me and she went, "Hello." I said, "Hi." She went, what are you doing?
Wearing out of interest?
What was I wearing? I had my normal clothes.
You weren't like
I was in my school uniform for old time's sake. I didn't turn up like, come on, still fits. Not too late to get in on that RE class, right? I'm sorry I didn't pay attention back in the day, but I'm ready to learn about Islam now. I turned up just normal, and
Ready to learn about
normal,
Islam.
James.
no, it was, but the dinner lady came up to me. She said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm just cutting through actually." And she was like, I beg your pardon. I was like, I'm just cutting through to my friend Jake's house. She said, well, this is a school. I was like, yeah. I said, oh, but I used to go here. I used to go to this school. You know,
Not as a pupil.
yeah. I was like, I'm a student, and like, you know. And she was like, right, well, look, if you're going to be on school premises, you got to sign in. So I said, all right. So I'll sign in on my way through. So I went
Reason
to,
for visit, cutting through.
well, this was the thing. I went to reception. The receptionist said, hello. I was like, hello, I'd just like to sign in, please. And she was like, great. Which meant, by the way, I did realise it meant that I was going to have to instantly sign out again. All I was doing is going straight through. But she said, right, why are you visiting? I said, I'm just cutting through. She went, you're not allowed to cut through. I was like, right. She was like, right, wait there. And she got the deputy head.
Whoa!
Now, deputy head turns out to be the third member of staff.
Detention?
Huh?
Does it end in
Yeah, I thought, well, I was surprised that I've been back 5 seconds. I'm already in trouble with the dep. And he comes down. And he's another member of staff I've never met before. It's like the whole staff has shifted since I left.
Are you sure it was the same school?
I was the same one, mate. It still had my classic graffiti on the side, Scrape Master. But he comes down, this big, really massive guy. He says, right, I understand you're cutting for our school and using it as a public footpath. I said, well, I used to go to this school. Right, James Aker, I'm the one who got into all the scrapes, mate. Asking the staff room. But it was like, you can't. No, the thing is, I was getting told off by him. It was very hard to get told off by him because it was on Mufti Day, and he was dressed in Hawaiian shorts and a shirt. Right.
Thank God you hadn't turned up in uniform. You're doing the lead sentence.
Yeah, which is basically what I used to do in school, actually. But I was like trying to.
What was he wearing? Hawaiian shorts?
A long, like 3/4 length Hawaiian shorts and a shirt, but like quite a jazzy shirt with a really big collar. So I was there trying to get told off by him, but I was like, I can't do this, I can't take it. And I was like, look, it's okay, I used to go to the school, like, I'm James Acaster. Like, just ask around the staff room. And he wasn't having any of it. He went, you're going to have to leave. Now, the thing is that, so he went, you got to go back out the way you came. Right, which is counterproductive to me.
Yeah.
And also, the reception's in the middle of the school, so it's just as far to walk.
You should just said to come from the other direction.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he knew what way I'd come in from. So I was like, right, but I was like, okay, I will, thinking, you don't tell me what to do anymore. I don't do. So I walked the other way, and then I got to the exit, and it's a big iron gate across it. It was locked. I realised I was now trapped at the other end of the school and had to get across again, and I've never been so scared. Like, I was just running, I'm legging it through these kids, trying to get out, and eventually I got out. But like the scariest point, and I don't know, it shouldn't be incriminating, but at one point I was running and I saw a child with his back to me, but urinating into a bush, and it terrified me. So I was like, if anyone knows I was near that kid, I'm going down forever. And now probably saying this on radio means I'm in a lot of trouble.
It's really weird. It's like a really creepy remake of the end of Don't Look Now. Just the
horrible.
kid with his back to you.
It was horrible. But, you know, I've learnt my lesson. I haven't done it again since, just so you know.
I really feel like that's a lesson you should have been able to guess. I really feel like experience should not have taught you.
I
that.
honestly...
You can't just cut through a skull.
I honestly maintain that back then it wasn't as big a deal.
When did you go to school? Like the 1950s or something?
Oh, no, there was a motorway going through his school.
Oh, the teachers would be happy to see me. When she said I'm getting the deputy head, I thought, Mr. Barley, brilliant. And it wasn't. Mr. Barley would have come down and went, Acaster, you absolute card. I can't believe you're still up to your old tricks, cutting through the school. Let's have a chat, how you doing? Leave him alone, you stupid receptionist. He's a legend. Instead, it was a big guy in Hawaiian shorts. He wasn't happy at all.
I mean, I think we can file that under classic scrapes. Thank you very much, James. More from... I don't know when this well is going to run dry, but hopefully not for a few more weeks.
Well, hopefully for my sake, one day.